welcome to the Ping Pong Critics review of Interstellar. I'm Daniel.
I'm Nick.
This is our spoiler review, so please follow the annotation, or not, because you're already on a spoiler review. That means you already seen the film.
And the spoilers in this movie are big. Don't think you can just enjoy the movie with you have spoilers.
Absolutely.
Stop lying to yourself.
Don't lie to yourself. These are some pretty big plot points that you don't want to know prior to viewing it.
So pause the video, click the annotation, watch our video.
Watch our spoiler-free video.
Yes. Yep. Then go to the theaters, watch the movie, come back here, watch this, and you'll have received the best enjoyment possible.
Absolutely.
And it may or may not take up your entire day.
Dude, it's a 3-hour film. Usually I say always disagree with Nick, but in this case, you know what? You can agree with him. It's alright.
It hurts.
Hey, Nick,
it's hurt inside.
Hey, you're fine. I mean, how much can it hurt? It can't possibly hurt more than going into a black hole. Bam! You just got spoiled, kid. Sorry about that.
He goes into a black hole.
He does go into a black hole.
But you should know that. And if you don't, then you fucked it up.
You did. Okay. I guess we should start with the biggest thing we've withheld from the spoiler-free review, which is plot and storyline.
Oh, there are so many great decisions.
Right.
Like, originally I was thinking, well, this film isn't that great for the first maybe 40 minutes or so. I wasn't really feeling the connection with McConaughey and his daughter, and that was kind of making it less good. But right when they get to the first planet, everything takes off and it never comes down.
Absolutely. I have similar opinions relative to that of yours. At first, despite just great performances all around, especially from the child actor who portrays his daughter, I didn't really get their relationship. I didn't feel it, and I was really afraid because I really wanted to like this film, and it seemed like it put a lot of emphasis on their relationship, and the fact that I can't relate to these characters was probably going to ruin the film for me later on. But soon as they get to the first planet, like you said, and they come up from the planet, and it's been 23 years, McConaughey sits down and he sees the entire life up until that, like the 20s, his kids going from when they were, however old they were, to in their 20s, and you see their life progress without him, and then you see McConaughey and he's just crying. And it's like...
And it's that perfect mixture of happiness and sadness.
It's so raw, and I couldn't hold back my tears because it was there, it hit me. It was just enough punch that I really cared about these characters.
And right when they said 23 years, I was just going like...
Holy crap, right? Yeah. Relativity, man, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Although
they do tell you.
They do tell us, that's right. I have to say, while we're on this, that Anne Hathaway's character's actions at that point didn't make that much sense to me.
Well, the idea was that she was trying to save the mission by finding the data, because she was just going like, oh, if I have the data, then maybe we can decide that this planet works, even though there's giant waves that kill everyone.
It just seems like such an oversight,
No, I think her reaction made sense, and they commented on it yesterday, later, explaining their actions. Yeah,
I guess so. But what did you think about the fact that Michael Caine's character, Alfred, was actually withholding information from them, that Plan A was never meant to succeed? It was just there to motivate them to join the program.
I guess it makes sense.
It does make sense, but...
But what's up with him saying, I did not go quietly into that good night, now excuse me while I just kind of fall asleep while I die?
What?
He kept reciting that poem, do not go quietly into that good night.
Yeah, it's a motif.
He was the guy who said, oh, no, I can't get this data. Everyone is going to die. It's not like there's any black holes that we're planning to send spaceships to.
The point is that he kept trying. Like, he realized that Plan A was not going to work. You saw him as he died. It was a lot of pressure to carry that, that secret with him throughout his entire life. Like, he knows very well that if he told everyone that Plan A wasn't going to work, regardless of whether... I mean, the fact that he decided himself that... he decided himself that Plan A was never going to work is a little arrogant, but what do you want from me? What do you want?
I'm just telling you the time. It's already been 5 minutes.
So?
It's kind of surprising.
Oh, okay. Listen, Nick, I'm in the middle of my conversation. Just let me do it, okay? Anyways.
Are we gonna cut that?
What?
Never mind.
Of course not. You kidding me? I'm not gonna cut anything out, Nick. Everything's gonna stay in the... Alright. Anyways, where the hell was I? Oh, it was a lot to carry as a character. Stop playing with your watch. It was a lot to carry as a character, and you saw, it took a toll on him.
Relativity shit. Fifth dimension crap. Let's talk about it.
Completely took me out. Alright.
What a change. Okay. So, here, the thing coming into the black hole, I was expecting...
No. Alright, I'm doing this.
What?
So you have no idea where you're going.
What?
Alright, we're just gonna cut until now. Alright, this is where the new cut begins. Alright. So, what do you think about Future Earth? Because that's where they start off, with the sandstorms and the,
Wait, not too distant Future Earth or Final Earth?
The not too distant Future Earth.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was the Blight. I like the exposition for that. It was very clean. You never felt like you always knew that all these characters knew what it was, and all their comments on it were just to.
Yeah.
I don't even.
And it wasn't a big emphasis on the film, for better or for worse. I think the main reason of its existence is to drive the characters outside of planet Earth and go on their various explorations.
But I really like McConaughey's son character, the change that happens in him as he's just being a farmer, and he's going to let his wife and kid die because he needs to be a farmer.
It doesn't... Yeah, I see that, but his son character was sort of backtracked or put behind the scenes as the movie went on, especially after he woke up at Cooper Station. Where's my daughter? How about your son, man? How about that guy?
Yeah. What about your grandson?
Yeah, that too. But
probably be the same age as you or something.
Probably. I mean, he was gone for 100 years at least.
70.
70
maybe
years.
60 or so.
Okay, man. Talking about this is difficult because it's such a grand story.
So let's talk about the second planet they go to.
Yeah, Plan B or the second planet. Yes. Surprise reveal, Shabamo, Matt Damon.
What?
I mean, all right. I was mentioning this to you, but a lesser filmmaker would have definitely showed his character in the trailers and just all the promotional material. Because when you have such a big actor playing a role, with any other filmmaker, they would definitely showcase it. Because
it's like shit. Matt Damon's in there. Go.
Matt Damon is gonna draw audience members, but he understands that making a good film prioritizes over making a profitable film. Although I'm pretty sure this film's gonna do fine.
Dark Knight Rises.
Anyways, I don't know how to respond to that, Nick. I mean, you haven't even seen the film, and you keep on commenting on it.
Yeah, it's too much fun.
Okay.
Because you end up like this. Just like going... It's all in the film. It's all to the film. Anyway,
The thing is, you insulted the film without knowing what the film is. It doesn't make any sense.
I know what the film is.
Yeah, sure. Anyways, as you were saying.
I wasn't really saying anything.
Okay. Then I was...
No, I was saying something.
Okay, alright.
Dr. Man's Twist, where he turns out that it was really predictable, but it was predictable for the right reasons. That Matt Damon was portraying this character well enough that you knew, wow, look at this guy. He's just so desperate. What's...
Yeah, he looked like he was doing too well for everything to be okay.
Yeah.
And alright, I'm gonna just put this out there. I felt that the segment with him, like that whole segment, went on for a little too long, especially with the docking thing, the docking scene. Although that docking scene
was epic.
Yeah, it was very well done, especially when he didn't dock correctly.
Yeah, and he's just going like, what's gonna? I mean, the explosive decompression. How explosive can it be? Oh God, that explosive!
Yeah, I mean, in the middle of his word, it just and it hits you. It's like,
and there's no music afterwards, and it's just you're utterly blown.
Absolutely. It's like a jump scare, but without the jump scare. It was quite the moment. And throughout the entire movie, there's just amazing moments, like when the realization that, you know what, hey, it's a wave, it's not a mountain, or...
And then as they're crashing along it, it's so perfectly done, and it looks real.
Yeah.
You can't tell the difference.
Absolutely. I didn't mention this earlier, and I really should, and that is that Nolan has a really strong emphasis on using as many, like, real-life, practical props and effects instead of CGI, and CGIing as, like, computer-generating as little as possible. And even, like, when you see the astronauts in their spaceship and they're rotating and they're looking out the windows, he actually had visuals that the actors were looking at in order to appropriately respond to them. And that's something that's so rare in modern cinema. I mean, directors just CGI everything. It's cheaper and it's pretty effective, but you definitely feel the difference. It feels real. It really does.
And as they're going through these beautiful sights, like the wormhole as they're going through it, it's so incredible.
Isn't it? Oh, it's so well animated. And
it's really well designed, like seeing this wormhole, it's just like a bump in space.
Yeah, it's really it's intriguing. That's the word I'm looking for.
And the black hole, it's beautiful, but at the same time terrifying.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, especially with its reveal, you see it pan up, and then the minuscule spaceship at the corner, and you just have this giant astronomical phenomena in the middle of the screen, and it looks so. They said it's probably one of the most accurate portrayals of a black hole we've ever seen, and it's just incredibly well done. And kudos, man, really kudos to Nolan for, I mean, what a project to undertake, right? When he set out to make this film, I can't think of another director that could be capable, like physically and mentally capable and intelligent enough to pull something like this off. It's just, what a combination.
And just speaking of how Nolan did this, going back to plot, that fifth dimension stuff, where he's in there and he causes himself to be there. Was that confusing for you?
Nolan has a tendency of making a film that makes you ponder of the film itself after you leave the theater, which is a great thing. Now, the fifth dimension thing was a stretch for me, alright? It made sense, it worked, and it didn't bother me, but it was definitely a stretch about the whole future human civilization building a three-dimensional representation of his daughter's childhood from the perspective of her room, and then he causes the events that lead him to where he is now. It works, right? This whole space loop idea, as long as you can subscribe to that or is open-minded enough to accept such an idea, it works. It's a little bit of a stretch, but...
Because I'm asking if you were confused about it, because I've read stories before that have this similar thing in them, so did you grasp it immediately, or were you just feeling like, so, did he...
I think they did a good enough job of making it so that it's it can be it can be understood by average moviegoers, and that's really his mission there, especially with the relativity stuff. I don't think you can make that any more clear. It's pretty convoluted of a concept itself, but Nolan is known for having that indie director feel, but appeal to a mass audience. So, if anyone could have done it, it would be him, right?
Now, here's the big question. Was that sequence necessary?
Like, going into the black hole, avoiding spaghettification, and then
having the fifth dimension ship time loop. And
when you say if it was necessary, do you mean if they took it out of film? I mean, it's a central part of the storyline.
Not really.
What would you have instead? Like, him just die?
Maybe he dies, maybe he flies out the other side like it was originally planned and he transmit the friggin' information.
Oh, yeah. I feel like it was there as, like, a final prestige, if you will, referencing previous Nolan films, but it was there as a final, like, bam, And I thought it was good. I don't think it was necessary, but I'm glad that he had it in there, just for that little special thing that you can take home thinking about, The thing that really bothered me, though, was the events that happened after that. It all makes sense, right? The future civilization that constructed this world for him to affect his past then jettisons him out of the wormhole right next to where Jupiter is, and then 100 years in the future, Cooper Station, which is built next to Jupiter in order to observe the wormhole, picks him up and say, "Hey, look, it's freaking Matthew McConaughey."
That's definitely what they said.
Logically, it all makes sense, but it bothered me because there are so many times when you feel like, all right, the film's ending, and then it goes on for another few minutes, and you're like, all right, the film's coming to an end, and it goes on for another few minutes. I feel like I would have appreciated if he just died, like he got jettisoned. It's horrible as that sounds. If he got jettisoned out of the wormhole and they pick him up and then he's just dead, I feel like it gives it a little more weight and a little more emotional punch, especially towards the end. Look,
But on the other hand, that scene where he's talking to his daughter and she's freaking old, that's great.
Yeah, it is great, but it's just everything up until then worked so well for me, and then it just lost its punch. It didn't feel as emotionally strong as I wanted it to, and the whole thing with love and how it transcends dimensions comes back.
It doesn't come back. It never existed. Forget about it.
Hey,
oh, it's so terrible.
Listen, Nick, we have to rate a film on what it is, not what we want it to be.
Yeah.
And it's like, Nolan, it would have been so easy to cut it out and just get Anne Hathaway to redo that scene. And it's...
No. It was... Okay, let's...
It was a risk taking that on.
Let's do a rant about this.
Alright, let's do it.
No one takes a cut from their scientific mission about science to save the Earth.
Yeah.
To say, oh, I love.
Yeah.
It's love.
Scientific theory, it wasn't very astronaut-like for her to do something like that. She's supposed to be very intelligent and, the fate of the world rests on her.
And even then, like, she's trying desperately to convince these people to go to her planet with the person on it. You don't go into philosophy for that.
No,
you try and trick them, or you try and convince them.
Even Matt Damon's stuff made a lot of sense. It was the same thing. Like, he was trying to hide the fact that he lied about the data, which is why he tried to dock with the station and everything.
Yeah. Trying
to leave Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway's character to die, but it made sense. It didn't go into. For some reason, this whole love thing defies logic, even though the fifth dimensional thing we're completely fine with. And, it goes to show that, hey, the film really accomplished something that most films struggle to even comprehend, yet it suffers from many, a problem that other films suffer from too. It just feels like he set out to write a story about love and science fiction, but then that love element slowly got eclipsed by the much grander and ambitious scientific element, but then he still kept it in there for better or for worse. And in this case, it was for worse.
Yeah.
Just bother me, that's all.
But even then, going back to the future Earth place, it's great.
Yeah, it is.
I love seeing it. I love how this is just a circular station.
Oh, the space station, yeah.
Yeah, I like I wish we could have seen more of it even, but it's fine that we didn't.
I'm surprised that they didn't go to Anne Hathaway's, because evidently they have gained the ability to manipulate gravity to an extent.
Yeah.
So why didn't they go to where Anne Hathaway has set up camp and claim that as their new planet? What I'm thinking is, it's not as straightforward as it seems. Their internal disputes and conflicts about going into the wormhole again, seeing how every single mission beforehand has failed. That's why she's like, go and find Brand, who's Anne Hathaway's character. And then he gets in his little Star Wars spaceship with his little...
TARS behind him.
And speaking of which, oh my goodness, we didn't talk about this in the spoiler-free review. Yeah. The robots are awesome.
Yeah.
They're lovely.
It's like, at first you're going like, this robot does not seem very practical. It only walks slow as shit. I mean, come on. Oh, you're going to save Anne Hathaway? How are you going to do that? You walk slow. Oh, it's rolling.
Yeah, it's
rolling.
So cool. I mean, it's still impractical, but it's so cool.
And then he picks up Anne Hathaway and you're just going like, well, you can't roll with Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? He's galloping like a horse.
It's very intelligent how they implemented that, and it's very obvious that it is an homage to 2001. I mean, from shape to look, everything is. There's no hiding about it. It's definitely that, but they have a real character to them, and they bring a sense of levity to the film that I felt improved it drastically, if in a small part or in a small way. Humor setting, that was funny.
Yeah.
It really was.
Self-destruct in 10, 9, 8.
Let's lower that to 65, please.
Knock, knock.
That's right.
It's great.
It just, everything worked, for me, everything worked so well. For the last part to not work as well, it just feels like, what a waste of an opportunity for me.
So let's move on to something we've been rambling around, which is the writing and the acting.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
And it's great.
It really is.
Except for that love shit,
Yeah.
which is terrible writing and alright acting.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree.
It's all great, and I believe we talked about this when he goes back to the after the first planet and 23 years have passed. It's incredible acting on both him and his children.
Yeah, absolutely. Every actor is on par here. I mean, it's just it's a big project, right? It quite literally transcends dimensions, and it's difficult to keep every aspect of the film strong, which is the whole love thing. But the father-daughter relationship really sold for me, and I cried, or teared up at least, multiple times throughout the movie.
And I've always had this philosophy that there are good films, games, books, whatever, and then there are great films, games, books, whatever. And the great ones are ones where you're just never satisfied until everything is perfect.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a great film.
Yeah, I think it's almost a great film. It's going to be remembered as a great one because... Alright, let's just put this out there. I think it is the best scientific film, or sci-fi, fantasy, love film that has ever been created. Partially because there hasn't really been a film like it. Not even not even Contact or 2001 or any of those films come close to what this film tried to accomplish. I mean, they're different films. Let's just put it that way. I understand a lot of people are saying that this film is going back to the good old days of sci-fi, but it's different in a good way.
I mean, it's different in that a movie is different from another movie, but it's definitely exploring the craziest, most sciencey stuff you can think of.
Yeah, except the
different
love stuff.
Planets, going into a black hole, time shit.
Speaking of which, I want to touch on this thing. Did you like the whole going into the black hole thing? Alright, I'm gonna put this out there, the whole spaghettification thing. I think the explanation is future civilization world humans essentially protected Cooper and Taurus while they entered the black hole, which is why they didn't spaghettify. I think that's the explanation.
I think the gentle black hole things works with
no,
other universe.
Absolutely not.
It doesn't exist in this world, but in that world, then it can exist.
I see, like, it defines its own physics.
Yeah.
And I guess so. But it just feels like that is such a cop-out when the rest of the film is so scientifically, or put such an effort to be scientifically accurate. But yeah, I liked it. You were talking about how Matthew McConaughey's performance there was a little shaky. Was that you?
Yeah, I did mention that because he's going like... His voice cracks a little bit. I mean, I can't... Like you said, I can't really see a way for him to...
Do better, huh?
Yeah.
I think he did a great job there. Like how he was hyperventilating and the look in his eyes is complete.
Yeah, I mean, I was sold, but I was going like, okay, calm down.
I don't know why you'd have that response. He's entering a black hole.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's has ever done that before to come out alive and tell you the tales, right? Even then, he didn't really go into a black hole. He just went into a black hole that future civilizations specifically constructed so that humans could continue progression. I mean, I thought it was well done.
Definitely.
And when he went into the black hole, you're just like, is he actually doing this? Is he really going into a black hole?
And it's a great twist. You're just like, TARS, good robot.
Yeah.
You're gonna go to the black hole, send the data. It's gonna be great. And then you're just like, wait, what are you doing, McConaughey?
And yeah, that like last look between Anne Hathaway's character and McConaughey, it was all great. It really was. I think we should move on to sets, environments, musics, and cinematography. All superb, no?
Man, those planets, they are the perfect alien planets.
Yeah, they definitely feel alien, and they feel like planets. They don't feel like just a set, you know?
Yeah, and even though this didn't pan out because of the stuff, I like the idea that there's this solid cloud layer above, and then below there's a planet.
Yeah, I like how the plane was flying and then the wing clips the cloud for a little bit and it shatters. That was kind of... It was just like, oh, clouds. Oh, not clouds. No, not our normal clouds.
Yeah. And the wave planet, when the wave is going up and you just see the scale and you're just like...
Yeah, speaking of which, if you have access to watching this on IMAX, do that. Because I feel like the larger the screen you watch it on, the the better or the more grand the experience. You see it the way it was meant to be seen. Because he filmed it on an IMAX camera, a 70 millimeter, yeah.
And as the wave comes down, you're never doubting for a moment that it's just real. This is happening.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a lot of well done things coming together to make an experience. That's what it is. And the music too. Nate, one of our good friends, were mentioning how the organs bothered him a little bit. I don't think so. I thought it was just right, especially how audio was handled when there was audio and then it cuts to space and it's just dead silent and it's just you just see Jupiter and you see the little spaceship flying and it's so small relative to the planet and it's just you're just like, oh man, what a moment. There was such an impact. Every shot you felt like you were in for a treat.
Yeah.
It's long. It's 32 hours long, approximately. I think it was more like 32 hours than 3 minutes. You don't feel the 3 minutes, though. You just feel the 32 hours, for better or for worse.
Actually, though, it's 3 hours. We were going like, oh, so the party's going to be... We had a party afterwards discussing the party's going to be at 4, movie starts at 1. And I was thinking, well, I guess I'll have to go home for like 10 minutes before I get... Nope. We were late.
Absolutely. The movie went... There are some things that were dragged on a little bit too long for me, but once it didn't.
I think there were some scenes that were like maybe a minute too long, but no scene was ever just like.
Yeah. I never had to look at my watch.
I actually did look at my watch around every hour.
Well, yeah, I didn't have to, but I looked at it just so I can time when I was going to use the restroom. But then I never did, because my bladder expanded into the 5th dimension. Until eventually I just went to urinate for about half an hour. Anyways. Theme tone pacing? We sort of just talked about pacing, I guess.
We've we started the first this review with like 20 minutes of absolutes just rambling on about how great the movie is, and now we're going through this thing already talking about half of it.
Alright, well, I guess let's just move on to just general thoughts and just general commentary.
It's such a great movie, except for the fucking love shit.
Yeah, and it's a shame, It had so much potential. Everything worked to the best extent, and then you had this come and just
the love
slap
shit,
you.
We make a lot of noise about it in this review because it's the only bad thing.
Yeah, it really is.
But in the movie, you didn't really notice it that much. Anne Hathaway makes her speech, and you're just going like, "I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you."
Like that buzz cut?
I'm gonna kill you.
Alright, calm down, Nick. It's okay. It's just a movie.
But then you forget about it. It goes on, and the movie's still great.
Yeah, well, I guess the last bit bothered me a little more than it did you. I just felt like
it was great.
It didn't have enough punch to it.
And I don't think I want to make Tars is great.
Yeah.
He has the perfect personality.
And Case, too. Case is funny. Not as big of a role as Taurus is, but, okay. I guess we'll score it. Out of 10, once again to remind, TV episodes out of 5, series out of 100, and games out of 100. Nick, is it Nick approved?
Yes.
It is Nick approved. You heard that.
Everything is Nick approved, except Anne Hathaway.
Well,
Just take that bit out of the movie.
I thought Anne Hathaway did a pretty good job herself.
Yeah, she did. She was good at acting. But
the aspect of love that was given to her was not of the best. Good on
JP.
All right, rating, Nick.
9.
9 out of 10.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the movie.
Yeah, and I'm sure you heard my thoughts on the film. There are some things that bother me, but at the end of the day, it's quite the experience, and I'm gonna get it on Blu-ray the first day it comes out, and it's me, so that's rare. I rarely ever get Blu-rays. So I'm gonna give it 9.5 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. So that's 9 out of 10 from Nick, 9.5 out of 10 from Daniel. Thank you for joining us, and comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Take it easy. Thank you.
See ya.